Welcome to the Bold Money Revolution podcast. This is your source for straight talking, no fluff, business and high performance conversations that add real depth and value to the way bold leaders live, work, and thrive. I'm your host, Tara Newman. I'm here to show you how to optimize your performance as a leader so that you can grow a business that is profit-rich, efficient, and allows you to generate real, tangible wealth for yourself and others. We are here to help you lead with your values, to perform without overwhelm and burnout, and to do your most important work in the world. Trying to figure out how you're feeling about your business right now? If so, you're not alone. Is your relationship status set to "it's complicated"? But also very unwilling to go back and get that 9 to 5 because you're watching your colleagues drown in a sea of boundaryless work hours with a complete lack of autonomy. And if you haven't noticed lately, the American workforce has had it. So let's make sure if you're considering getting a job, it's because it's an intentional choice and not because you're feeling like you've overcomplicated this small business thing. If you're not paying yourself properly, you're constantly in a state of worry about revenue, and you feel like somehow you're failing at this online business thing because it seems like everyone else around you is printing money, listen up. This is for you. You are an expert, and it's time that you get paid like one. Welcome to the Bold Profit Academy, the only system your business needs to get you paid like the expert you are. We are focused on 4 core areas you really need to build a sustainable business and not work all the time. We're talking easy on your energy. We will teach you. Here are the things, the 4 things we're going to teach you. We're going to teach you how to create a gold star lead generation process so that you're always able to find leads that want to talk to you and become paying clients. Understand buyer psychology, why people buy. What do they actually need so you can clearly communicate what differentiates you in the noisy marketplace? Align your sales process with your values and strengths so you gain confidence, the confidence you need to create predictable revenue. Understand how money works so you can profit in any economy year over year. I'm Tara Newman, and I am a business growth strategist, Profit First certified consultant, high performance coach, investor, and long-term wealth building money nerd. After over 25 years in business, working both for large organizations and building my own, I'm supporting small business owners to make the targeted shifts that allow them to turn their businesses into wealth creation machines. You have paid your dues and then some, I'm sure of it. So now it's time to secure your financial independence. To check out the Bold Profit Academy and get onto the waitlist to join, go to theboldleadershiprevolution.com/academy, and maybe you'll be one of the many women celebrating their successes on our next Friday call. If you've ever wondered if you need $1 million business to be a millionaire, this episode is for you. Or if you've ever wondered, do you need a lot of volume to hit your revenue targets? Or maybe, more like it, if you've ever felt left out or inadequate because you don't have the volume of customers in your business that you think you should have, you're going to want to sit back and digest what I'm sharing with you here today. Hey, Tara Newman, host of this very fine show. And it is my goal to help you run businesses that are highly profitable, get you paid, and are easy on your energy. I am here for high value, service-based businesses who are experts at what they do and want to charge premium pricing so that they have all the profits. That is who I am talking to, because sometimes I get folks in here who are running different kind of businesses, and I want to be responsible and say that we are here for experts running service-based businesses who, if they were still working their corporate job, they would be making 6 figures plus. And that is what the goal is, to get them paid like the expert that they are. You get to choose if you want to be making 6 figures. I think that's a really good place to be. Running a small business. So that is what my goal is for you. But ultimately, you have to align with that goal as well if you are looking to join the Bold Profit Academy. So here is what we are talking about today. And I'm trying something maybe a little different. I'm not really sure, but I'm going to talk about some businessy things. I want to talk about why, if you are doing business in the online space or even like adjacent to the online space, so like maybe you're a brick and mortar, but you follow people on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and you're seeing these businesses that are volume based, or you're seeing strategies that are saying you need more volume, you need more volume, you need more volume in order to make money. I kind of want to pull that back and talk about why we're seeing that. Why is that the strategy that people are preaching? Why that's not the strategy that I'm here to share and to talk about, but really help you understand the why, because I keep finding that this is really missing among small business owners who are looking to improve their business knowledge and their business education. What they wind up getting is a lot of tactics, but there are not a lot of people out there who are explaining what's behind the tactic and why they do it. And when you don't understand what's behind the tactic, you lose the agency to make the decision as to whether or not that is the best strategy for you. And you also lose the ability to problem solve in your own business. Because at some point, something's not going to work. At some point, something's going to change. And you're going to need to not necessarily fix it on your own. I always recommend that you go and seek advisement and support and, alternative perspectives, which is what I try and do here, is provide an alternative perspective, but that you have an understanding of why it might not be working and to take those initial first steps and not just be completely dead in the water, right? I really want you to have a true business acumen and a true body of knowledge. And so that's what this episode is here for you today. It's going to be a little more tactical, I don't know what the word is. It's going to be a little more business school. Welcome to my classroom. That's what it's going to be. So let's explore where this belief around high volume businesses equals better. So more volume equals more better. Let's talk about where this has come from and why this is the case, right? And first of all, we know that, ever since The Biggest Loser, we now think that bigger is bigger. Bigger things are better, that it doesn't count unless it's worthy of being on a reality show, and more equals more, and just more equals better. And that's not always true. Actually, sometimes it's rarely true. So here's where this comes from. There are 3 types of businesses that you can run. You can run a high margin business, which margin in this case means profit, a high profit business. And those are typically defined as businesses who have differentiated themselves in the marketplace and have been able to raise the perceived value of their product or service over time because they've invested in research, development, testing, efficacy, results, right? Continuous improvement to streamline process. And you see these businesses have moderate or slower growth. Perhaps they're more high touch and less opportunities. There are less opportunities for scaling. And I like to say these companies go deep, not necessarily wide when it comes to target market. And then you have growth. Companies that are typically defined by lowering price while trying to maintain perceived value, essentially going wide but not deep, which allows them to sell to a higher volume of people and appeal to a larger audience. These businesses are often high revenue with little or no profit, but are seen as having more scalability. Many times, these companies can't even pay their operating costs. And some of the ones that we've seen in pop business culture, if that's a thing, WeWork, Uber, Lyft, right? And their trajectory for profitability is long. So they're sacrificing profit for a long period of time to go wide in their market, to pick up the volume, and to have high revenue numbers. And the reason why these companies want these high revenue numbers is because that's what attracts venture capital. In a lot of these cases, that will attract venture capital. And then you have the third option, which is be both growth and high margin. And this is not easy. Having a business that both has growth and high margin, these businesses are able to balance both through, like really smart strategy, solid leadership, a keen eye for numbers and data, their ability to tell a more compelling story, are some of the reasons that allow them to do both. However, over the past 10 years, it's been the growth companies with high revenue and zero to no profit that have caught the eyes of these investors and even the American public as being the it thing to invest in. We all like these overnight success stories. Their revenues are valued higher. So they're valuing their companies based on revenue and not profit, which we have now seen in hindsight is disastrous, because over the last 6 months, the NASDAQ is now down over 30%, which is where a lot of these companies reside if they're publicly traded in the market. And they're seeing the worst crash since the dot-com burst. And we're just seeing this all play out really unfortunately, in my opinion, because that level of destruction is going to come and impact the people who work for them. Right? And we know, if you've watched any of the WeWork documentaries or the docuseries on Apple TV, WeWork was so bad that by the time they got to the end, they couldn't even pay out severance. And if you think that this is sensationalized for TV, I will promise you that it is not. That I have seen this personally play out most recently, as in the last few months, with some of my colleagues. These businesses are at best morally reprehensible in the way that they treat their employees. And so somehow in our culture where we grew up on, the greed is good from the Wall Street movie, these businesses have really been seen as something to celebrate. And not so much. As a matter of fact, the venture capitalists who've been pouring millions and billions of dollars into these companies are now saying, best of luck, and we hope you have enough cash in hand to get you through 2025. Venture capital, the funding is down almost 70% since 2021. Nobody is buying into this bullshit anymore. I think it was Jim Cramer who said probably about 6 months ago, I just laughed when he said it because it just seems like common sense. But he said, investors now want you to turn a profit. Yeah, that's how business has worked. So, it's funny, not funny, but this is really some of what's driving and spilling over into what you might be seeing today in the online business space, because I find that those two spaces, tech startups and the online business space sometimes go hand in hand. And so VCs are realizing that the revenue for revenue's sake is a race to the financial bottom. So why had they been pumping so much money into growth companies for so long? They're desperately seeking the next unicorn. Why? Because they missed out on investing in Facebook or Amazon or Apple in the early days. And these are the games of the rich and ego-driven. Because high revenue has sex appeal. It raises your status in certain circles. It makes you more likely to have friends in high places. Or, get laid like, you're Travis Kalanick from Uber. Pretty much that's why this is so, it literally has sex appeal, because it certainly doesn't have any much other appeal. And why we look to these companies and think we want to be like them is beyond me. But also what we don't realize is how much money is being funneled into them on a regular basis to just keep them afloat. And I don't have that kind of money to be funneled in. Nobody's handing that over to me. Nobody's giving that to me, right? And when you start to really unpack some of these CEOs, one, they have a strong bend towards being a sociopath, in my opinion. That is an opinion. That is not for sure. But they're really privileged. Who else could, get this kind of money right out of the gates, the funding to start it up, to not have to really think about profitability? There's a lot of privilege that comes with this. I mean, there's a lot of privilege in small business too, but there's a lot of privilege that comes at that level. So why am I talking about this? Why am I telling you these things? Hopefully you're not like snoring by this point and you're still with me. Because this is why there are so many internet marketers preaching low dollar, high volume business models. They're copying what they see in the big business world of tech startups and venture capital, most likely without understanding how the money actually works, right? How does that money actually work? How, and where does the money go? And like I said, because it's sexy and we see this all the time in the online business space. I have fallen prey to this myself, where you see the cool kids are hanging out together. They look like they're internet famous. You wonder if you need to be in this big wig web celebs mastermind in order to finally, quote unquote, make it in your business. And there's just a lot of noise and distraction taking us away from what actually really matters as small business owners, which is profit, which is getting paid, right? So the other thing too that I think is really appealing about these kinds of models, especially to women, is the sales strategies for growth businesses tend to be, believe it or not, like more passive, right? We're talking about funnels and potentially automating funnels and ads, and I'm just going to send emails and people are going to click and buy. Whereas you actually need sales skills to sell profitable services. So for the majority of people who are looking to avoid developing sales skills, they don't feel confident. Growth businesses where you're selling lower priced offers are really appealing. Also for women who might be struggling with getting their pricing up and believing that they deserve to make a significant amount of money or do you have a lucrative salary from their business. That's not necessarily your fault, but at some point you need to decide if you're going to do the uncomfortable thing and get good at selling, or if you're going to continue to not be as profitable as you can be. When I say not be as profitable as I can be, I want you all keeping more of the money you make. That's what I mean when I say profit. I want you keeping more of the money you make. And listen, we're all motivated by different things. And so if you're motivated by volume and that's really exciting to you, and maybe you're really an extrovert and you just want to people with all the peoples, or if you have income coming in from other sources and this is really something that just feels like fun and easy to you, I totally get it, right? That's not what this is about. This isn't about one is bad and one is good. Listen, whatever works for you is good. Right? If this is working for you, that's amazing. I don't want to take away from that. But 80% of you or more who are listening to this is not a strategy that's going to work for you because you are looking to run a service-based business built around your expertise. You're a therapist, you're a consultant, you have corporate skills that can be leveraged. You want to sell B2B. That's another reason that you might not want to try high volume is if you want to be selling to larger businesses. So anyway, I'm here for the 80% of you who are like, I don't understand. I feel like a fish out of water. I feel like an awkward giraffe. I feel like I don't fit in anywhere. I need an alternate perspective. That is what I am here for. Right? So that is the entire point of this episode so far. Having this understanding will empower you to make better decisions and to question what you're seeing around you. That is all I want. I want you to question what you're seeing around you so you can make better decisions. Now, when to choose high margin over growth? When do you want to choose high profitability over, say, volume, right? Well, if you're bootstrapping, because it's going to take a metric ton of money to get some of these growth strategies, these high volume growth strategies off the ground. And to be honest, some of them were a lot cheaper 8 years ago when I started out. Like Facebook ads 8 years ago was super cheap. They're not that cheap anymore. And they're not as effective as they had once been. So if you're bootstrapping, you really have to think about how you're using your dollars. If you're someone who needs to collect a paycheck, like any kind of paycheck from your business, it doesn't matter how even much at this point. But at some point, I didn't take a paycheck in my business for 2 years. So my first year, I was working still full time. So this was a side hustle. And then in year 2, I did not take any pay and reinvested it into the business. And by year 3, I started paying myself. And shortly after that, I've been paying myself a very healthy 6-figure salary ever since. And I'm really, really proud of that. I've been out of corporate for 7 years come August. And I have been able to work less and earn more than I ever would have been able to do with a lot less stress. Still hard work. It's not what I'm saying, but I'm in control. I have autonomy. I have agency over my schedule, and I can choose how effective the actions are that I'm taking, right? And so if you need a paycheck, if you need to pay yourself, if you're somebody who's interested in building a stable financial future, and you don't have access to VC capital, right? You're going to want to go with a high profit, high margin business, or a business that can balance growth and margin, right? There's that other option as well. If you're someone who enjoys depth work, I do hear this from the women in the Bold Profit Academy a lot. They are people who enjoy the depth work of their expertise. They enjoy providing transformational experiences and are more relational in nature. And they just lend themselves really well to high profit businesses that are easy on their energy. Someone who wants to have a simple business where you can enjoy your life, right? If you want to have a simple business where you enjoy your life, where you have a better quality of life than you did maybe in a corporate job, then you're going to want to look at how your business is designed for high profitability. If you're someone who has chronic illness, family obligations, like me, you're in the sandwich generation, you are going to want a business that is designed for high profitability. Those are just some of the reasons why you're going to want to see that be highly profitable. And here's why you don't need $1 million business to be a millionaire. You don't need $1 million in revenue to be a millionaire. As most likely, if you have $1 million in revenue, it might even be harder as a small business owner to be a millionaire. But you want to take the profit from your business or what you're paying yourself in your CEO pay, and you want to take that and invest that in other cash generating assets. You want to invest that, and this is not advice, this is just simply examples, because people are like, what do you mean when you say other cash generating assets? You might want to invest in real estate renting or Airbnb, like having an Airbnb, or you might invest more in the market beyond your retirement. I'm personally a huge fan of dividends, investing for income and having those dividends start to pay me income over time. So that's really one of the things that I'm working on setting myself up for, is having this really robust dividend portfolio, because this allows me, when I take my money and I invest it in other income producing assets, it allows me to not work so hard. I actually don't need the volume because I have money coming in from other sources. So how can we work financially smarter instead of operationally harder? I just made that up. But like, that's really how I kind of think about this, because I'm really done busting my ass in that way. When I left corporate in 2015, I said, I'm early retiring. And so what would it look like for me to live my best life in early retirement? And this is it. Speaking into a microphone, illuminating all of you on the differences between high margin businesses, growth businesses, and high margin / growth businesses. So let's talk about some takeaways from this episode, because might be a little much for some of you to digest. I hope it's not. I would love to hear from you. Like, hit me up in the email or on Instagram and let me know what you thought of this episode. Like, was this too much for a podcast episode? Did I need to be more entertaining and less serious? Let me know. So here are some takeaways. There's a chance that if you're not gaining the traction you want to see, your strategy is not aligned with what you actually want. If you want to be internet famous, if you want to serve masses of people, go with a business that is relying on volume. If you want high profit because your primary objective is to be self-employed and earn income independent of an employer, go with high margin. You've built high margin through consistently offering one-on-one services and want to impact more people, want to start buying your way out of these one-on-one services, then you want a strategy that balances growth and margin. It's usually easier to create that hybrid model if you start with one-on-one, and then as you're working one-on-one, you're building your audience, getting very clear on your target market, and finding ways to differentiate yourself so you can go for growth, but have margin. And that's really what we do here. We are a hybrid model. We've straddled both over the last 8 years very, very successfully. And I'm, again, very proud of that. Takeaway 2. You're not gaining traction or making money that you want right now. Start with high margin premium services. Right? Your highest margin, your highest profitable, your premium service, selling to few rather than the many. Get really good at converting your warm leads. Get really good at creating a system to eliminate churn and to retain clients and continue to serve them at a high level. That is really where you would want to be. You can still have massive impact with simple delivery and financial stability with a high margin business. You don't need volume. And you're most likely to have leads and just need to get better at finding them. So, for those of you who are like, I just need more volume, I don't have enough leads, I'm not making the money I want, hear this all the time, I have no leads, I have junk leads, there's some kind of lead issue, right? You most likely have more leads than you think. You just have to find them and categorize them so you know who to focus your activity on. Okay? Promise. And if you're like, I still don't believe you, Tara, I don't believe you, book a call with me. And we'll have this conversation on what are all the ways that we can plug the leaky buckets in your business so you can find those leads, so you can convert them more easily to sales, and so you can have more consistency with higher quality leads in your business. Because those are the two things that everybody wants when they come to me. High quality leads, more than enough high quality leads, and more predictable revenue. If you are interested in joining the Bold Profit Academy for our Q3 sales curriculum, you are going to want to go to Run, Don't Walk, theboldleadership.revolution.com/academy. If you found this podcast valuable, help us develop more bold leaders in the world by sharing this episode with your friends, colleagues, and other bold leaders. Also, if you haven't done so already, please leave a review. I consider reviews like podcast currency, and it's the one thing you can do to help us out here at the Bold Leadership Revolution HQ. We would be so grateful for it. Special thanks goes to Stacey Harris from Uncommonly More, who is the producer and editor of this podcast. Go check them out for all your digital marketing and content creation needs. Be sure to tune into the next episode to help you embrace your ambition and leave the grind behind.